You spent too much time measuring yourself by what you don't have, comparing your life to people who were never assigned your purpose. But the truth is, your value was never meant to be discovered in comparison. It was designed in creation. There is something placed inside of you that no one else on this earth can fully replicate. Not your voice, not your perspective, not your calling. Ah, you are not an accident and you are not a copy. You are a deliberate design with divine intention woven into every part of your being. What makes you special is not just what you can do, it's who you are when nobody is watching. It's the character you carry, the convictions you hold, and the decisions you make when it's hard. Anybody can shine when the spotlight is on, but it takes something different to stay faithful in the dark. Your uniqueness shows up in how you respond to pressure, how you rise after failure, and how you keep moving when life tries to pin you down. That's where your true identity is revealed. A. You are never meant to fit in every room you walk into. A. Sometimes the discomfort you feel is not rejection. It's a signal that you were built for something different. Too many people shrink themselves just to be accepted. But you don't honor your purpose by blending in. You honor it by standing firm in who you were created to be. You don't dilute your calling to make others comfortable. You embrace it, even when it sets you apart. There is a gifting inside of you that the world is waiting on, but it won't show up through fear. Fear will keep you hiding what was meant to be revealed. Fear will whisper that you're not ready, not qualified, not enough. A. But what makes you special was never based on your perfection. It was based on your willingness to step forward anyway. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to start moving in the direction you were called to go. Your story, with all its ups and downs, is part of what makes you unique. The struggles you faced were not meant to destroy you. They were shaping you. Every setback carried a lesson. Every pain carried a purpose. The very things you thought disqualified you are often the same things that prepare you to impact others. Two-way. Your experience gives you a voice that someone else needs to hear. Don't silence it. You cannot discover what makes you special if you keep living according to someone else's expectations. People will try to define you based on their limitations, but you were not created to live inside their opinions. You have to decide whose voice matters most. When you align yourself with truth instead of approval, something shifts inside of you. You stop chasing validation and you start walking in confidence. There is power in knowing who you are, but there is even greater power in living it out consistently. It's not enough to believe you're special. You have to act like it. That means showing up with discipline, with focus, and with a commitment to grow. What's inside of you needs development. It needs time, effort, and persistence. Your uniqueness is a seed, but it only becomes something great when you're willing to nurture it. You were not given your gifts to sit on them. You were given them to serve, to build, to create impact. A, what makes you special is not just for you. It's for the people whose lives will be changed because you chose to step into your calling. When you operate in your purpose, you don't just elevate yourself, you lift others with you. That's when your life starts to carry real meaning. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when you question whether you really have what it takes. In those moments, you have to remind yourself that your value was established long before your doubts showed up. Oh, you don't become special because of what you achieve. You achieve because of who you already are. Your identity is not something you earn, it's something you walk in. So stop waiting for permission to be who you were created to be. Stop holding back what was meant to move forward. You are not here to live an ordinary life when there is something extraordinary placed inside of you. What makes you special is already within you. It's just waiting for you to recognize it, develop it, and release it into the world. You have spent far too much time looking at someone else's life, measuring their achievements, their progress, and their success, and then quietly questioning your own worth in comparison. But the truth is, comparison was never meant to be your measuring stick. The moment you begin to compare, you step outside of your own lane and into a place where you can never win because you were never designed to live someone else's story. There is a unique design placed within you, something intentional and specific that cannot be duplicated by anyone else. Your personality, your perspective, your experiences, and even your struggles all come together to form a blueprint that is entirely yours. You are not a random occurrence. You are a purposeful creation with meaning woven into every part of your life. When you chase someone else's version of success, you slowly disconnect from your own purpose. You begin to shape your decisions based on what looks impressive rather than what is actually aligned with who you are. Over time, this creates frustration because deep down, you know you are living beneath your potential, trying to fit into something that was never made for you. The pressure to copy others often comes from a desire to be accepted, to feel validated, and to avoid standing out in ways that might make you uncomfortable. But what you don't realize is that your difference is your advantage. The very thing that makes you feel out of place is often the same thing that sets you apart in a powerful and meaningful way. Your purpose is not something you can borrow, imitate, or inherit from someone else. It is something that must be discovered, developed, and lived out through your own journey. No one else has been given your exact assignment, and no one else can carry it in the way you were meant to. That is why trying to replicate someone else's life will always leave you feeling incomplete. There comes a moment when you have to make a decision to stop looking sideways and start looking inward. Instead of asking why you are not like someone else, you begin to ask what has been placed inside of you. This shift in focus is where clarity begins because you start recognizing the value that has been there all along. Your value is not determined by how closely you resemble someone else's success story. It is determined by how faithfully you walk in what you have been given. The moment you understand that, you stop chasing approval and start building confidence because you are no longer trying to prove yourself. You are simply being yourself. Embrace who you are requires courage because it means letting go of the need to fit into expectations that were never meant for you. It means standing firm in your identity, even when it doesn't match what others think it should look like. This kind of confidence is not loud or arrogant. It is steady, grounded, and unshakable. There will always be voices around you telling you who you should be, how you should act, and what success should look like. If you listen to all of them, you will lose yourself in the noise. But when you learn to silence those voices and focus on your own calling, you begin to walk with a clarity that cannot be easily shaken. The process of embracing your uniqueness is not instant. It is something that develops over time. You grow into it as you take steps forward, as you make mistakes, and as you learn more about who you are. Every experience adds another layer to your understanding, strengthening your confidence and deepening your sense of purpose. You have to understand that what you carry has value, even if it doesn't look like what others are doing. Just because your path is different does not mean it is wrong. In fact, it is often in that difference that your greatest impact is found, because you bring something new, something fresh, and something needed to the world. When you stop comparing You free yourself from a burden that was never meant for you to carry. You no longer feel the constant pressure to measure up because you realize you were never supposed to. This freedom allows you to focus your energy on growth instead of competition. And that is where real progress begins. Walking in your purpose requires you to trust that what has been placed inside of you is enough. Even when you feel uncertain, even when the path is not fully clear, you keep moving forward because you understand that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. That trust becomes the foundation of your strength. The more you embrace who you are, the more you begin to see opportunities that align with your true self. Doors open that you might have missed before, simply because you were too focused on trying to be someone else. When you walk in alignment, things begin to make sense in a way they never did before. At the end of the day, your life was never meant to be a reflection of someone else's success. It was meant to be an expression of your own purpose, your own calling, and your own identity. And the moment you stop comparing and fully embrace who you were created to be, you step into a level of confidence and clarity that changes everything about how you live. What makes you special is not first proven in front of people. It is established in the unseen moments where no applause exists. Long before recognition ever finds you, there is a quiet process taking place in your life where your habits, your mindset, and your choices are being shaped. This private space is where your real foundation is built, and whether anyone sees it or not, it is determining the direction of your future. In those hidden moments, discipline becomes your greatest ally. Discipline is not about doing what feels good. It is about doing what is necessary, even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. It shows up when you decide to stay consistent without external pressure, when you keep pushing forward without someone reminding you, and when you commit to growth, even when no one is rewarding you for it. Your character is also formed in private, and it speaks louder than any public achievement you could ever display. Character is who you are when you have the opportunity to take shortcuts, but choose integrity instead. It is the decision to remain honest, to stay grounded, and to hold onto your values, even when no one would know if you compromised. There is something powerful about faithfulness in the unseen. When you continue to give your best effort in situations that feel small, unnoticed, or insignificant, you are developing a level of consistency that cannot be shaken. Faithfulness is not about the size of the task. It is about the commitment you bring to it, regardless of who is watching. Many people desire public success, but they are not willing to endure the private preparation that comes with it. They want the spotlight without the process, the recognition without the responsibility, and the results without the discipline. But true greatness does not skip the private stage. It is born out of it. The private moments test your authenticity. It is easy to perform when people are watching, but it is much harder to stay committed when the audience disappears. That is where your true self is revealed. Are you consistent, or do you only show up when it is convenient? Do you stay focused, or do you lose direction when there is no immediate reward? What you repeatedly do in private eventually becomes who you are in public. Your habits, whether good or bad, are quietly shaping your identity. Over time, they become second nature, influencing how you think, how you act, and how you respond to challenges. That is why what you do behind closed doors matters so much. There is a level of strength that is built when you learn to operate without validation. When you no longer depend on recognition to stay motivated, you develop a deeper sense of purpose. You begin to understand that your effort is not tied to applause, but to a commitment that goes beyond what others can see. Your discipline in private prepares you for opportunities in public. When the moment comes for you to step forward, you will not have to scramble or pretend to be ready. You will already be equipped because you have been doing the work consistently. A. Even when it felt like nothing was happening. Character built in private gives you stability in public. When challenges arise, and they will, A. You are not easily shaken because your foundation is strong. You are not defined by pressure because actually I've already developed the strength to withstand it long before anyone noticed. Faithfulness in small things often leads to greater responsibilities. When you prove that you can handle what is in front of you now, you position yourself for what is ahead. Growth does not come from skipping steps. It comes from mastering each stage with patience and consistency. There will be times when the lack of recognition feels discouraging. You may wonder if your efforts even matter or if anyone will ever notice the work you are putting in. But what you have to understand is that the process itself is producing something in you that recognition cannot replace. Your greatness is not defined by how loud your success is, but by how deep your roots are. The stronger your foundation, the higher you can rise without losing yourself. And that foundation is not built in public view. It is developed in the quiet, consistent, and often challenging moments of private growth. When you embrace the value of the unseen work, your perspective begins to change. You stop chasing quick results and start focusing on long-term development. You begin to appreciate the process. Understanding that every small step is contributing to something greater than you can currently see. At the end of it all, what makes you truly special is not just what people applaud, but what they never get to witness. It is the discipline you maintained, the character you protected, and the faithfulness you demonstrated when no one was watching, because of the things that ultimately define the depth and durability of your greatness. There are moments in your life when you walk into certain environments and something just doesn't sit right within you. You may not be able to explain it fully, but there is a quiet discomfort, a sense that you don't belong in the way others seem to. Too often, you interpret that feeling as rejection, as if something is wrong with you, but in reality, it may be a signal that you were never designed to fit in that space to begin with. Discomfort has a way of exposing what alignment cannot. When you are at a place that does not match who you are, there is an internal resistance that begins to surface. It is not there to confuse you. It is there to guide you. That uneasiness is not your enemy. It is a form of direction, pushing you to recognize that your identity does not match the environment you are trying to force yourself into. Many people spend years trying to silence that discomfort because they fear standing out or being different. They adjust their behavior, their beliefs, and even their values just to blend in with those around them. But the more they try to conform, the more disconnected they become from their true selves, creating a quiet frustration that never fully goes away. What you have to understand is that not every space deserves your presence, and not every environment is designed to nurture your purpose. Some places are too small for what you carry, too limited for where you are meant to go, and too misaligned with the calling that is on your life. The discomfort you feel is often a sign that you have outgrown where you are. Rejection and misalignment can feel similar on the surface, but they are not the same. Rejection suggests that you are not wanted, but misalignment reveals that you are not meant to stay. One attacks your worth, while the other protects your purpose. When you begin to see discomfort through that lens, it changes how you respond to it. Your difference is often what makes others uncomfortable, not because it is wrong, but because it challenges what is familiar. When you carry something unique, It disrupts the normal patterns of the environment you are in. Instead of seeing that as a problem, you have to recognize it as evidence that you bring something valuable that cannot be easily absorbed or ignored. There is an assignment attached to your difference. It is not there by accident, and it is not something you are supposed to hide. The qualities that set you apart are often the very tools you are meant to use to create impact. When you try to suppress them, you are not just limiting yourself. You are stepping away from the very purpose you were meant to fulfill. It takes courage to accept that you are not meant to fit everywhere. There is a natural desire to belong, to be accepted, and to feel comfortable in your surroundings. But true growth often requires you to step outside of what is familiar and embrace the reality that your path will look different from most. When you begin to embrace your difference, your perspective starts to shift. Instead of asking why you don't fit in, you start asking where you truly belong. This question leads you to environments that align with your purpose, places where your uniqueness is not just accepted, but valued and needed. Discomfort is not always a sign to leave immediately, but is always a sign to pay attention. Sometimes it is pointing out that there is something within that needs to grow, and other times it is revealing that the environment itself is not right for you. The key is learning to discern the difference rather than ignoring the feeling altogether. The more you try to force yourself into places where you don't belong, the more drained and frustrated you become. It takes energy to pretend, to adjust, and to constantly monitor yourself just to maintain a sense of acceptance. Over time, that pressure becomes exhausting, and it pulls you further away from your true identity. On the other hand, when you step into environments that align with who you are, there is a sense of ease that replaces that constant tension. You are still challenged, but you are not fighting to be yourself. Your difference becomes a strength rather than something you feel the need to hide. Your assignment is often found in the very areas where you stand out the most. The places where you feel different are often the places where you have the greatest potential to make an impact. Instead of shrinking back, you are called to step forward and allow what makes you unique to be seen and expressed. There will always be people who misunderstand your difference or fail to appreciate it. That does not mean it lacks value. It simply means that not everyone is meant to understand your role. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone else. It is to remain faithful to who you are. When you fully accept that your difference is your assignment, you stop viewing discomfort as rejection and start seeing it as redirection. You realize that you are not lost, you are being guided. And in that realization, you gain the confidence to walk away from what does not fit and step boldly into what was always meant for you. A fear has a way of showing up at the exact moment you are about to step into something meaningful. It whispers doubts into your mind, it magnifies your insecurities, and tries to convince you that what you carry is not enough. It doesn't attack what is ordinary. It targets what is unique about you, because that is where your potential truly lies. What makes you different often feels fragile in the beginning. It is not fully developed, not fully expressed, and not yet proven. Fear takes advantage of that stage, telling you to wait, to hold back, and to stay hidden until everything is perfect. But perfection is a moving target that you will never fully reach. And if you wait for it, you will remain stuck in the same place. Your calling was never designed to depend on perfection. It was designed to grow through action. Every step you take, no matter how small, begins to shape and strengthen what is inside of you. Movement is what turns potential into reality. And without it, even the greatest gifts remain buried. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move in spite of it. You will feel fear when you step into something new, when you take risks, and when you allow yourself to be seen. That feeling does not mean you are on the wrong path. It often means you are stepping into something that matters. The danger of fear is not just that it makes you uncomfortable, it is that it convinces you to stay silent. It tells you to hide your ideas, to downplay your abilities, and to avoid opportunities that could stretch you. Over time, that silence becomes a habit, and you begin to shrink yourself without even realizing it. There is something powerful about taking action before you feel ready. When you step forward despite your doubts, you begin to break the grip that fear has on you. Each action becomes proof that fear does not control you and that you are capable of more than you initially believed. Your uniqueness is not something that will fully reveal itself while you are standing still. It unfolds as you move, as you try, as you fail, and as you learn. The process of stepping forward is what brings clarity. You discover your strengths not by thinking about them, but by using them. Fear often exaggerates the cost of failure while ignoring the cost of inaction. It makes you believe that making a mistake will define you, when in reality, staying stuck is what limits you the most. Growth comes through experience, and experience requires you to take risks. You have to understand that every person who has ever achieved something meaningful started before they felt completely prepared. They did not wait until they had all the answers. They moved forward with what they had. Along the way, they learned, adjusted, and improved. But none of that would have happened without that first step. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when your progress feels slow, and when your efforts seem uncertain. In those moments, fear will try to convince you to turn back. But what you have to remember is that progress is not always visible immediately. Sometimes it is happening beneath the surface, preparing you for what is ahead. Your calling requires consistency more than it requires perfection. It is not about getting everything right every time. It is about showing up again and again, even after mistakes, even after setbacks, and even after moments of doubt. That consistency builds strength, resilience, and confidence over time. When you choose movement over hesitation, you begin to shift your mindset. You stop focusing on what could go wrong and start focusing on what is possible. That shift opens doors that fear would have kept closed, allowing you to step into opportunities you might have otherwise missed. The willingness to step forward is what separates potential from purpose. Many people have gifts, ideas, and dreams, but they remain where they are because they allow fear to dictate their actions. The ones who move forward, even imperfectly, are the ones who begin to see transformation in their lives. Every step you take builds momentum. At first, it may feel small and insignificant, but over time, those steps add up. They create progress, and that progress creates confidence. The more you move, the less control fear has over you because you are no longer standing still long enough for it to take hold. At the core of it all, your uniqueness deserves to be expressed, not hidden. Fear will always try to silence it, but it only succeeds if you allow it to stop you. When you choose courage, when you take action, and when you step forward, despite uncertainty, you begin to walk in the very thing you were created to do. And that is where real growth begins. Your past often feels like a collection of moments that tried to hold you back, disappointments that weighed you down, and struggles that tested your limits. It is easy to look at those experiences and believe they were meant to break you, to weaken your confidence, and to define you by your lowest points. But what you have to understand is that your past was never meant to destroy you. It was shaping you in ways you could not see at the time. Every struggle you faced carried a lesson, even if it did not feel like it in the moment. When you were going through the pain, all you could see was the difficulty, the confusion, and the pressure. But now, when you look back, you begin to realize that those moments were building something within you, something deeper than comfort could ever produce. Strength is not formed in easy seasons. It is developed when you are stretched beyond what feels comfortable, when you are forced to confront challenges that require you to grow. Each obstacle you overcame added another layer to your resilience, teaching you how to endure, how to adapt, and how to keep moving forward even when it was hard. There were times when you felt like giving up, when the weight of your circumstances seemed too heavy to carry. In those moments, you may have questioned your ability to continue, doubted your own strength, and wondered if things would ever change. But the fact that you are still here, still standing, is proof that you were stronger than you thought. Your past did not just build your strength, it also shaped your perspective. The things you went through changed the way you see the world, the way you understand others, and the way you approach challenges. You gained insight that you could not have learned any other way, and that insight is part of what makes your story meaningful. Pain is a way of deepening your understanding. It allows you to connect with others on a level that goes beyond surface conversations. When you have experienced struggle, you carry a sense of empathy that cannot be taught. It is developed through experience. That empathy becomes a powerful tool in how you relate to and support others. The mistakes you made along the way are also part of your growth. They were not there to define you as a failure, but to teach you what does not work and to guide you toward better decisions. Each mistake carried a lesson, and each lesson contributed to your development, helping you become wiser and more aware. There is purpose hidden within your story, even in the parts you wish had never happened. The challenges you faced were not random, but they were shaping your ability to handle what lies ahead. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually preparation for something greater than you can currently see. When you begin to see your past through this perspective, your relationship with it changes. Instead of feeling weighed down by it, you start to recognize its value. You see how each experience contributed to who you are today, and you begin to appreciate the strength that was developed through those moments. Your story has the power to inspire others. There are people who are going through struggles similar to what you have already faced, and your journey can give them hope. When you share what you have been through, you show others that it is possible to overcome, to grow, and to move forward. It is important to remember that your past does not limit your future. It is a part of your story, but it does not define your entire identity. You have the ability to take what you have learned and use it as a foundation for what you are building next. Your past informs you, but it does not control you. There will always be moments when old memories resurface, when you are reminded of what you went through. In those moments, you have a choice to see those memories as wounds that hold you back or as evidence of the strength you have gained. That choice determines how you move forward. Growth is a continuous process, and your past is one of the tools that contributes to it. The lessons you learn do not expire. They continue to guide you as you face new challenges. Each time you apply what you have learned, you reinforce the strength that has been built within you. Your struggles added depth to your journey. They gave your story layers that make it real, relatable, and impactful. Without those experiences, your path would not carry the same meaning, and your growth would not be as profound. The very things you once questioned are now part of what makes you strong. When you fully understand that your past came to build you, not break you, you begin to walk with a different level of confidence. You no longer see yourself as someone who has been damaged by life, but as someone who has been shaped by it. And in that realization, you find the strength to move forward with purpose, knowing that everything you have been through has contributed to who you are becoming. There is a quiet pressure that builds when you begin to shape your life around what other people expect from you. It doesn't always feel heavy at first, but over time, it starts to influence your decisions, your behavior, and even how you see yourself. You begin to measure your worth by how well you meet those expectations. And without realizing it, you slowly drift away from who you truly are. Living under the weight of expectations can make you feel like you are constantly performing. You adjust your words, your actions, and even your dreams to fit what others think is acceptable or impressive. In doing so, you may gain temporary approval, but you lose a deeper sense of authenticity. You are no longer living from a place of truth. You are reacting to external pressure. What makes you special cannot fully exist in an environment where you are trying to please everyone. Your uniqueness requires freedom, space to grow, and the courage to be expressed without constant filtering. When you are always concerned about how others will respond, you begin to suppress the very qualities that set you apart. The desire for approval is natural, but it becomes dangerous when it starts to control your identity. You begin to prioritize acceptance over alignment, choosing what feels safe over what is true. Over time, this creates an internal conflict because deep down, you know you are not living in a way that reflects who you really are. True confidence does not come from being liked by everyone. It comes from being aligned with what is real. It is built when you make decisions based on your values rather than on the opinions of others. This kind of confidence is not dependent on external validation, which means it remains steady even when approval is not given. Choosing truth over approval requires courage because it often means disappointing people. There will be moments when your decisions are misunderstood, when your choices are questioned, and when your path does not make sense to others. In those moments, you have to decide whether you will stay true to yourself or return to the comfort of fitting in. The weight of expectations can feel safe because it provides a clear path to follow. When you do what others expect, you avoid conflict, criticism, and uncertainty. But that safety comes at a cost. It limits your growth, restricts your potential, and keeps you from discovering what you are truly capable of. Breaking free from that weight is not easy, because it requires you to redefine how you see yourself. You have to shift from seeking approval to seeking alignment. Instead of asking what others want from you, you begin to ask what is true for you. That shift changes everything about how you move through life. When you start choosing truth, you may feel uncomfortable at first. You are stepping into a space where you are no longer controlled by familiar expectations. But within that discomfort is a sense of freedom that cannot be found any other way. It is the freedom to be real, to be honest, and to be fully yourself. Your uniqueness becomes stronger when it is not restricted by external pressure. When you allow yourself to operate from a place of truth, your decisions become clearer, your actions become more intentional, and your sense of direction becomes more defined. You are no longer pulled in different directions by different opinions. There is a difference between respecting others and being controlled by them. You can value people's perspectives without allowing them to dictate your identity. Healthy relationships support your growth, but they do not require you to abandon who you are in order to maintain them. Confidence built on approval is fragile. A, because it depends on something that can change at any moment. But confidence built on truth is stable because it is rooted in something deeper. It does not fluctuate based on how others respond. It remains grounded in a clear understanding of who you are. As you continue to choose truth, A, you begin to attract environments and people that align with who you really are. You no longer have to force connections or pretend to fit in. Instead, you find yourself in spaces where your authenticity is recognized and valued. Letting go of expectations does not mean you will never face criticism or doubt. Those things are a natural part of growth. But when you are grounded in truth, they do not have the same power over you. You are able to move forward without constantly second-guessing yourself. When you fully release the need for approval and commit to living in truth, you step into a level of confidence that is not easily shaken. You begin to walk in what makes you special, not because everyone agrees with you, but because you have made the decision to honor who you are above everything else. When what is inside of you has been fully developed, it will naturally begin to show. You will not have to force it or prove it, because it will be evident in how you think, how you act, and how you perform. Your uniqueness will no longer just be a hidden gift. It will become a visible force that creates impact and leaves a lasting impression. It is easy to fall into the routine of simply existing, moving from one day to the next without ever questioning whether there is something more. Life can become a cycle of responsibilities, obligations, and habits that keep you busy, but not necessarily fulfilled. In that state, you may be living, but you are not truly engaging with the deeper purpose that gives life meaning. You were never meant to live a life that is limited to survival. There is something greater placed inside of you, something that goes beyond just meeting your own needs. You were created with the capacity to influence, to contribute, and to leave a mark that extends beyond your own personal experience. Impact begins with understanding that your life has value beyond yourself. The way you act and the way you treat others all carry the potential to affect the people around you. Even the smallest actions can create a ripple effect, shaping someone else's day, their mindset, or even their direction in life. Serving others is not about losing yourself. It is about expressing your purpose through what you give. When you use your time, your energy, and your abilities to support others, you begin to experience a deeper level of fulfillment. Service connects you to something bigger than your own desires and allows your life to carry meaning beyond personal gain. There is a difference between living for yourself and living with purpose. When your focus is only on what you can gain, your perspective becomes limited. But when you begin to look at how you can contribute, your world expands. You start to see opportunities to make a difference where you once saw ordinary situations. Elevation is not just about lifting yourself up. It is about bringing others with you. When you grow, when you learn, and when you succeed, you have the ability to create pathways for others to do the same. Your journey becomes more meaningful when it is not just about your progress, but about the impact your progress has on those around you. Stepping into your purpose requires awareness. You have to recognize that you are capable of more than just existing. You have to begin asking deeper questions about what you are here to do and how you can use what you've been given to make a difference. That awareness is the starting point of transformation. There will be moments when stepping into purpose feels uncomfortable. It may require you to move beyond what is familiar, to take risks, and to embrace challenges that stretch you. But within that discomfort is growth, and within that growth is the opportunity to step into something greater than you have known before. When you begin to live with purpose, your actions become more intentional. You no longer move through life without direction. Instead, you make choices that align with what you believe you are meant to do. This alignment creates a sense of clarity that changes how you approach each day. Your life starts to carry power when it is driven by purpose. That power is not about control or dominance. It is about influence. It is about the ability to inspire, to encourage, and to create positive change. When you operate from a place of purpose, your presence alone begins to make a difference. Meaning is something that cannot be forced. It is something that develops when you live in alignment with your calling. It is found in the moments where you know that what you are doing matters, not just to you, but to others as well. That sense of meaning brings a deeper level of satisfaction than anything temporary ever could. There is a fulfillment that comes from knowing you are using your life well. It is not dependent on recognition or reward, but on the understanding that you are contributing to something greater than yourself. That fulfillment creates a sense of peace and confidence that cannot be easily shaken. You do not have to do something massive to live a life of impact. Purpose is often expressed in consistent, meaningful actions over time. It is found in how you show up, how you treat people, and how you use your abilities to make a difference in the spaces you are in. The moment you shift from existing to living with intention, everything begins to change. Your mindset, your priorities, and your actions all start to align with a greater vision. You begin to see life not just as something to get through, but as something to invest in. When you fully step into your purpose, your life takes on a depth that goes beyond surface level living. You begin to experience a sense of direction, impact, and fulfillment that transforms how you see yourself and the world around you. And in that place, your life no longer feels ordinary. It becomes something meaningful, powerful, and truly significant.